We are back. Welcome to the Blitz Breakdown, where Scotty meets analytics meets the newest crop of off-field talent. I'm Jack Bourgeois. That is Ashton Moore. It is the divisional round of the 2021 NFL season, and I couldn't be more freaking excited, baby. A lot has happened. Been a lot of coaching fires, too, that we haven't really discussed. I don't even know if we necessarily need to get into it. I like this positivity that we got going on right now. You know, not raining on my parade. None of our coaches are getting fired, but there is a lot of movement going on in the NFL. Coach being fired that I didn't even really expect either. I'll tell you what. Like, I did not see Brian Flores.
It could get dicey in Arizona. I mean, we'll see how that plays out, too.
Oh, I know, man. Right? Cliff Kingsbury's offense are like, you know, it hasn't clicked. It hasn't been able to hold up.
It falters off towards the end, or at least it tends to.
Yeah, I mean you can only do that same stuff for so often. Like, you have to start incorporating, like, it'd be one thing if you brought that offense to the NFL and then you tailored it to, like, and blended the two. But it still kind of, to me, seems like Cliff Kingsbury's offense and his mindset and mentality. And, dude, that stuff, it doesn't work. It didn't work in college. It produces numbers, but it doesn't necessarily
work. You can get a winning record out of Patrick Mahomes. And they drafted a team. They drafted a team of pieces for his scheme. I mean, they wasted 2 picks on Andy Isabella and Rondale Moore to be, like, kind of the chess piece that he likes to put into that offense, and it just hasn't translated. I mean, I think they're gonna have to take a long, hard look in the mirror, and I think he ends up getting through it. But he starts off the year with a really hot seat. This is a big year for them. Hopkins better come back healthy, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, again, I think though they will definitely look back at it, say they were in first place, and then this happened. You know, the injuries happened. They took over. They lost Watt, Hopkins, and Kyler Murray. Basically all at one time. I mean, you can't expect a coach to out-coach or coach themselves through that when you lose, you know, 3 of your top 5 players, 6 players on the team.
Absolutely.
That was rough. I mean, it's about as rough as their playoff performance. Let's put it that way. Their season was rough. Yes. Their entry was good. It looked good from the start, but when they
looked exposed, and I'm glad they didn't make it to this batch of games, because the matchups that we have this week are, I mean, this is everything you could ask for. We have I don't see a combination that would come out of this weekend that would make for a bad weekend next weekend, and then from there a bad Super Bowl. Like, this is just these are the teams that need to be at this point in the season. And I mean, I feel like I've mentioned this every pod now, but like, this is just the product of the best NFL season we've had. I mean, in terms of storylines, in terms of products, or just how the quarterbacks are producing. I mean, the MVP is still essentially a toss-up. And, I think we're going to see another weekend of really great football, and hopefully not as many blowouts as last week. But I think we're going to be fine, because I think all 8 of these teams are capable of staying in each of their games. So let's get it. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's nothing more exciting than a game like this. You've got 8 teams right now. They're going to get cut down to 4, then cut down to 2, and after that it's the winner. But, like, any of these 8 teams could do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would have to say probably Cincy right now, because the Niners have been there. So the Niners are the lowest seed in there right now, I believe, right? And so you could see that the Niners are getting there. I don't know if I could necessarily see Cincinnati getting there, because I haven't seen it before. You could say that about Tennessee, but we've seen Tennessee go on stretches of pure dominance led by Derrick Henry, who they're now getting back.
They've been in the AFC Championship before.
Yeah. I mean, they were there, what, was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago against you guys, right? Yeah, I remember that.
That was a great game.
Sweet.
So, yeah, no. we have 8 Super Bowl caliber teams, I'd say. Well, yeah, we can go with that for now.
I
And
think so. I think so. Like again, even though I say I don't see it like because I haven't seen it before, so it's hard to picture. I mean, would you if you know in a few weeks if it comes down to it and Joe Burrow is the like you're gonna be like damn, not that I didn't see it coming, but like you would believe that story. Like you'd believe that storyline that Joe Burrow like just, you know, basically catapulted himself into QB stardom by
yeah,
having the comeback year of all time and winning a Super Bowl with his best friend that he used to throw to way back when. You know, like how much better does it get of a story than that? What about, you know, Tom Brady going back to back? What about Patrick Mahomes' redemption year and proving everybody wrong? What about Josh Allen, you know, taking that next step? Not only taking that next step, that means he has to go beat Patrick Mahomes in KC, which he did earlier this year, right? Or wasn't it in KC? Was it in
oh
KC?
no, it's Buffalo.
That was in Buffalo. Yeah, I want to make sure that that's that changes things a lot.
Oh
Um,
yes.
but I mean, if he does that, then like now he is at Patrick Mahomes like level. You know, if you beat the king, you then become the king. At least for time being, right? You know, again,
Right.
we can still
That shakes
say
up a lot.
we can still talk about who we draft first and all that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that definitely rises. You know, it will rise his legacy, his stock tenfold. You got you know the going out party with Aaron Rodgers. There's so many the Rams with Stafford and Stafford finally
Yeah.
getting some
And
a
they're
playoff
all in
win.
this
Like
year.
oh right, I mean
So
OBJ coming in being a team player, not a distraction. You know, a positive influence. Who'd have thunk it that all it took was a little bit of talent and like a half decent coach or a
in
half
a
decent
major
quarterback.
city.
Yeah, animation. I guess it took a lot, didn't it?
Well,
It
New
took the
York was
perfect situation, but it was about as good of a situation as he was going to get.
yes.
And look at it now.
Yeah, no, like I said, I mean, any of these matchups would be great storylines for the end game. And I mean, with that being said, I think the first one that we need to go ahead and knock out is Bengals at Titans. And it sounds like you're feeling the baby Bengals a little bit.
So I'm feeling both teams, man. I mean, again, I'll continue to play devil's advocate, but
Yeah,
I do think the Tennessee Titans have a single weakness, and that is their pass defense, specifically their secondary, their cornerbacks. They can be exposed. They have been exposed. They have given up big plays throughout the season. That's been their weakest point for what 3, 4, 5 years now. They've kept throwing bodies at it, and it's Jamar freaking Chase. It's Joe Burrow. So like,
can you go deep in the playoffs off of like one connection though? You know what I mean?
I mean they've done it so far against you know decent teams,
Like
but
it would essentially be like the Cardinals back in the day when Warner and Fitz were just tearing it up.
yeah,
It was just an opportunistic defense that really just made it happen, and the offense that wouldn't quit, I guess. But at the same time, man, this is the first time I found the stat today. The trio of Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, and AJ Brown have only played for 15% of the snaps this year. And with all of the kind of headlines going into this game, it's all about, you know, is Derrick Henry going to be back to his MVP level? Is he going to be able to rebound 100% from a Jones fracture? Is he going to be able to be what it takes for the Tennessee Titans to look like they did at the beginning of the year when he was on his MVP run? But I think what I'm mostly taken about this, I'm talking about the Tennessee Titans in specific, I think that this is the perfect opportunity for them to, let me say this, if Julio Jones comes out and has himself a day, I think I'd be ready to say the Titans are probably the favorites. Like,
they are.
It completely turns them into a completely different monster on offense. Like that
Are you
is
talking
everything.
about favorite? Are you talking about Super Bowl favorites? Or are you talking about this game favorite?
If Julio Jones comes out and he is Julio Jones of old, and he definitely needed that bye week just as much as Derrick Henry did. He could use every week of rest he gets at this point in his age. And if he comes out and he's shining, and Tannehill just comes out and is play action and just getting it to them in open space and letting his playmakers do work, this team's a problem. And that's what I think. That's where I think Vrabel's going to come at this game with. Like, I don't think he's going to feed Derrick Henry 25 to 30 touches in his first game back in an expedited recovery schedule. I think they're going to use him as a decoy because that's what everyone's talking about. And this is going to be seen as more of a Tannehill game. Because, one, you don't necessarily need to take the ball. Like, yes, Derrick Henry is a completely different level when he's healthy from what Hilliard and what Foreman were bringing up. But if the name of the game is running game and play action off the running game, I think you're going to see them taking it more of like an ease him back into it approach. And traditionally, he doesn't necessarily start well. He's one of those guys that like gets wear and tear over the game, and defenses just start getting tired of tackling him, and he breaks off a long run in the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. And I think they're going to it's going to be difficult to him to get into that kind of role that I see him that typically gets him into that steamroller type of runner. And it's been fun. I've enjoyed the Cincinnati's rise to prominence and that the fact that they were able to break their playoff streak, but they have another playoff streak ahead of them right now that I wasn't aware of until today. Cincinnati Bengals are 0-7 all time on the road in the playoffs. They have never had a playoff win on the road.
Damn.
And that's just the Bengals. And I think we're going to see that kind of start to rear its head again. And the Titans have been a contender all year. I mean, like I said, they made the AFC playoffs or AFC championship 2 years ago. This isn't their first rodeo. And they're out here and they're playing. And I think the contender's going to contend.
I 100% agree with you. I was saying that I can believe that the Bengals can win this. I think they have a chance.
Be fun.
I personally.
Then they play an Arrowhead next week. That'd be sick.
No, between Derrick Henry, like you said, this trio of players on the offense side of the ball coming together and clicking right at the right time. I think Derrick Henry's been healthy for weeks now, and it's just been eased right back into it. Now you have this fresh monster ready to just feast on defenses that are already banged up. You're talking about a cold weather game in Tennessee. Everything is like going to lean towards Tennessee winning. I think it's going to come down closer. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a last, it's going to come down to maybe whoever has the ball first or right in that area of one possession, one drive type of deal. And that's what worries me when you talk about Tannehill, because I do think you have to have that. You have to have those big plays from AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Like those are going to happen because of Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. Derrick Henry being in the game is going to set them up with one-on-one coverage to do what they do. He'll have better rushes and more impact than Foreman will or Hilliard were. Like you said, I'm basically kind of recapping exactly what you said.
They're good points. I'm going to say.
But it's going to open everything else up. I don't think he's going to be a decoy. I'll meet you in the middle and say he's not getting 30 rushes, but I think he definitely handles the ball 18 to 20 times. I'll say I'm closer to that 20 range. I definitely see him touching the ball almost 20 times. And so that leaves another probably 10 for Hilliard. And so I'm not going to say just rushes. I'm going to say overall because, they use him in the passing game. They use him everywhere. That's where I would lean. If there's an over-under on touches, I definitely am going the over.
Okay. So you're taking Titans, though? 3.5?
No.
Just money line.
Bengals with 3.5. I'll take the Titans to win. Bengals with the 3.5. I think it's gonna be a. It really is. It's gonna be a last-second field goal. It's gonna be a last-second touchdown. That's what I'm saying. If you're saying that the Bengals have to go the length of the field to win the game, I kind of feel like there's gonna be some of that LSU, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow magic, and it's just gonna happen. I mean, like the story would be too good. Tell me you don't want to see that a little bit.
No, for sure. I want to play. I would much rather if I'm the Chiefs, I'd much rather play the Bengals than the Bills next week. Or sorry, the Titans. I'd rather play the Bengals.
Are all three teams in the AFC teams that you guys have lost to this year?
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's kind of nice. Like revenge games are always.
There's a lot of motivation with this team. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I don't feel any better about us losing to the Rams earlier this year. But
different team.
Again, we'll save that. We'll save that for the Sunday. We have this Saturday night game. I mean, do we have anything else we want to add to this before we wrap up? Cincinnati.
I guess just a touch. I mean, the fact that Ogunjobi's out, Hendrickson's banged up. I think they're really going to – I mean, you're going to see Derrick Henry in the backfield. They're going to have to cheat towards filling the box a little bit more, and that's why I think the play action is going to be such a huge aspect of it. And in essence, like the player of the game is probably going to be Tannehill in my mind if it goes the way that I think it's going to go. And Vrabel is 8-0 with 8+ days to prepare. So he's been thinking about how he's going to stop Jamar Chase, and I don't know. Maybe he comes up with something. But he's had time, and numbers help his side. So I'll take Tennessee and the points.
Even with the magic of Burrow and Chase, there's just going to be too much offensive potency with Tennessee, and then you've really I'm going to say this right now. I think Jeffrey Simmons is going to have 2 sacks. I think he's going to have another 2 tackles for a loss, and I think one of them out of those 4 tackles, I think one's going to be a strip.
Wow,
that's
big
where
Jeffrey
I'm going.
Simmons guy.
Jeffrey Simmons guy. I think he's going to meet Mixon in the hole one time, and Mixon's going to get throttled down.
For sure. No, he's a beast. I'm glad you brought up the defense because they definitely deserve their flowers. They have 3, Simmons, Nico Autry, and Harold Landry, 3 players with over 8 sacks. And they can come at you in all different ways, and that Cincy O-line isn't quite prepared for that. And Burrow's elite already with his pocket presence and just sensing of when he needs to get the ball out of his hands. So kudos to the man, but he's on average getting sacked 3 times a game, and that's a good front 4 he's going against. So
and that's him being elusive. That's with him escaping and
that's
and
him
avoiding
with
pressure.
Elite pocket presence.
Yes, it is,
and not facing the Tennessee Titans.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'm right there. I'm going though. It's gonna be
cool.
Titans. I'm sticking with the pyramid I had last week. It's gonna happen. I got this.
Lock it in.
That night game, though. Are we going to see a repeat of what we seen 2 years ago? Literally, I think it was 2 years ago today or 2 years ago yesterday, where the Niners came in and threw a total of what? Was it 13 passes, 12 passes? I think it was like 12 passes. Jimmy G was like 7 of 12, 8 of 12. And yet they got murdered. The Niners I've never seen a team run it down another team's throat like the Niners did. Like, insert dirty joke here is how bad it was. Like, that was one of the worst ass whoopings I've ever seen in my life, especially when you consider who the other team was. It's not like it was a good team beating a shitty team. It was, like, arguably the favorites that year. Like the Packers are going into every year, they are the 1 seed or they are the favorites. The likely, because it's Rodgers, because they play in the NFC North. All kinds of reasons you can give them as to why they're always in that 1 seed, and yet they never end up being in the Super Bowl. We've talking about, is it 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl?
What's that?
for Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. It's been like 13 years. It's been a long time since Aaron Rodgers has been to the Super Bowl. You would think it's gonna happen. I don't think so. I'm just gonna come out. I'm not beating around the bush. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the Niners are going to run right through them. Bosa, if he can return from this concussion, huge. Fred Warner likely to play. Like it's questionable now. Likely to play. If they've got both of them back, I am solid going San Francisco 49ers. Cold weather game. The Niners have a defense. The Niners have a run game. The Niners can stop the run. Packers cannot necessarily stop the run. Packers can't stop Debo. Won't be able to stop Debo Samuels. I feel confident. I really do. I want to watch it. I'm going to be bugged if I miss that game. I told you why earlier, but
be rough. It's going to be a rough game to miss. I feel you. I completely feel you on that. I mean, Rodgers is 0-3 in the playoffs against him for a reason. I mean, for whatever reason, he seems to have trouble with the team that passed up on him, number 1 overall pick in 2005.
Yeah, his childhood team.
No, dude, there's a lot of poetry to that. With that being said, as limited as Jimmy G is, typically, now he's dealing with a thumb and shoulder injury. And you're going to have to run the ball the way that really the 49ers want to run the ball. But is that enough to stop Rodgers on a mission? Like, this is his last hurrah, it seems, in to get this monkey off his back.
You think he's played less harder in any other season?
He's playing different this year, though. Like, the way, I mean, obviously he's interacting more, but like just the way he's playing is different. Like, I just can feel like this is his year to make it happen, because he senses like this is the only time he can make it happen. And I think, I don't know, they just seem like a team with. They got the mojo this year. They got a lot of momentum, and they can run the ball too. Like, they can. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are very much so, I would say, just as dangerous as a running game as what San Francisco can bring to the table, if not more.
I would say.
And it's cold. And Jimmy G's never played in a game or taken the snap and thrown a pass in any game with less than 30 degrees. And
how many times do you think Jimmy G will throw? Over, under, or like where do you think? What do you think it is?
15.
So you need 20. him to be good for 10 throws.
I think they're going to implement Trey Lance.
I think so too.
Jimmy G's just too limited at this point. Like, his whole arms he was limited to begin with, and now you're talking about he might need to get in a shootout. Because San Francisco does have a good defense, but you don't have anybody to cover Devontae Adams.
I mean, you cover them in twos. That's how you cover them. You cover them in twos.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, if you go subtract the quarterback position, because it's night and day different, no questions asked. Like, Jimmy G would never even be put on any pedestal or platform or stage where either of those quarterbacks should ever be compared. Mm-hmm. That being said, offensive line, defensive line. I'm not going to say the running backs are better, but the running game is better. So offensive line, defensive line, running back. You could say, I mean, Debo Samuels, I think technically, statistically, has been better than Devontae Adams this year. I think from like a fantasy perspective, overall production, I almost guarantee Debo was like number 2 or number 3. I don't know. I guess they were super close, but then Adams had some off game. I guess they both got hurt too.
San Francisco's got weapons. I'd say they have the weapons for sure. With
they have more depth. They have more depth at the pass catching spot. Let's put it that way. Because if you want to say Devontae Adams cancels out Debo Samuels and is better, he's a better wide receiver. I'm not saying he's like going to be more impactful though, because look at the way that they're not using Devontae Adams like they use Debo. Debo literally is.
Not
That's
using
what's
Debo,
crazy.
using
He's not even
Devontae.
the focal point. He's not even the focal point. The run game's the focal point. Plus you have Debo. Plus you have George Kittle. So I mean, when you add George Kittle into that element, I think it's night and day different. I'm going to say that the Niners have a better offense going into this cold weather game, even though Jimmy G has never seen 30-degree weather before, which sounds crazy to me because
he's about to see 9-degree weather.
Huh? Oh, you think
he's about to throw in 9-degree weather. You can't practice that in San Francisco.
You say that because you just don't like the cold. Like you're more worried. You're
That's
more
why
worried about it.
relate.
You're more worried about it than he is.
I'm telling you, he's gonna be worried about it once he gets in the Lambo, and
he's gonna go like this, boom, and he's gonna go like this. Is that 70, 80? Oh, touchdown! Yep. He scored. That's exactly what's
they don't
happen.
have a Raheem Mostert back there this year.
Yeah, but Elijah Mitchell is like almost average. He's like his yards per game is insane.
No, he's nice.
He's good. I mean, he's probably above average, but because he plays for the Niners, like any running back, well, you and me could get yards behind that scheme.
I think I can score a touchdown, like a 1-yard goal line.
Sure. I mean,
if I'm like sneaking it.
Yeah, if it's a walk-in, like as long as it's a walk-in, yeah, I could definitely score. If I have to juke somebody or like break a tackle, I mean, obviously that's not.
Then I'm getting broken.
That's good. Yeah.
But you take Niners though.
I'm taking the Niners. I am. And if Bosa's out, I'm a little bit worried. But again, let's go. I never even finished it. Defensive, like I said, defense side of the ball. Linebackers are better. Secondary, I think I would maybe give to
Green Bay,
but I don't know. Not overall. I like Jari Alexander. So yeah, I think I'm even gonna say the Niners. Niners defense is way better all up and down the board. So that means that.
But Aaron Rodgers is much better than Jimmy G.
And that's all it's gonna take. Even though Jimmy G is gonna have to do anything. We've literally seen this. We've seen exactly how this played out not too long ago. And when Green Bay loses, it's only because of physicality and getting ran on.
Here's what I'm going to call. Packers get up early. They jump on them. Devontae scored. Rodgers is just clicking early. And it gets to the point where they have to pull Jimmy G. And by the end of the game, Trey Lance plays more snaps than Jimmy G.
Oh.
How do you feel about that?
Now you're talking about like an injury? I mean, I can't.
No, I'm saying like they can't trust him to get them back into
I'm not gonna lie. When I watched the Cowboys game, I was like, oh my god, I need to pull Jimmy G and just read option it the rest of the way with Trey Lance.
I think they start to see that. And it's cold.
Hey,
like,
that was
running game. Like you gotta run it.
That was literally my prediction at the beginning of the year, is that Trey Lance would take over like once the playoffs came, or like towards the end of the season. Obviously, I was thinking it was going to happen a little earlier than now. But
something weird happened last week, like literally like an hour and a half before the Niners and Cowboys game. It was like a report came out from like CBS San Francisco that it was likely that they will be moving on from Jimmy G after the playoffs. Like an hour before the game. Like, why is that even coming out? Like, why is that being released then? It's like, it's weird. It's weird.
We all know that, but like that's
weird.
Yeah, but it's weird. But like Jimmy G knows this shit.
Right.
Like,
but like, why is
he
it starting
fucking
to
knows
leak now?
He knows it's his last ride with this team, just like Aaron Rodgers knows it's his last ride with this team. Super Bowl win or not, they're probably not going to be on the same team.
No. But I think they've already started to put the things in place to usher him in earlier than what is planned.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trey Lance has more snaps than Jimmy G in this game. That's my call. And also the under.
I'm going 31. 31-20. Well, 31. I'm going 31-21.
San Francisco.
Yeah, because I don't trust. That's the other thing. The kicking. Can you trust Crosby? Do you think they don't have a clutch kicker to save their? They can't. They haven't been able to trust his ass all year long.
Go for it. Give Rodgers another shot. He's on a mission.
That's what I'm
No
saying.
kicking. It's 9 degrees.
That's what you're saying, but that's not what Matt LaFleur is going to do.
Right.
He's trusted him all year long, and he's proven to be untrustworthy, and he's still been like, well, the logical thing is the kick, and we're not going to get a better kicker, so we're going to give him the kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, if it comes down to kickers, then I will give San Francisco the edge. I'll go that far. But I don't think it is. I think they're going to beat them by at least 5.5.
I hope Bosa feels good right now. I hope he's sleeping well. I hope he's like clearing the cobwebs. That was nasty, man. That looked bad.
But
it wasn't that he was out, like he wasn't KO'd out cold, like he didn't have to be helped off, or he didn't wasn't put on a stretcher and carted off.
Yeah.
But that, just the way everything happened, him being pushed to the ground like that and pushed right into the knee.
Football's a rough sport.
It is, man. That was like that Buda Baker one. That one, I didn't look good either.
That was rough. That one was rough.
That was hard.
And then you're supposed to just go and play right after that. Be like, okay, your boy just got carted off, wasn't here. But, all right, start the play clock.
I mean, that was solid form by Cam Akers.
Great story, which is actually a great segue into the next game.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, I don't know if you want to go for it. I mean, these are your boys.
I mean, who you want to talk about?
Paint the picture.
All right.
I think the biggest elephant with the situation at hand is the injuries that y'all are having to deal with right now.
Oh, big time.
Specifically in the offensive line. And this is going to be a very, very tall task for Tom Brady.
Yeah, really. Sorry.
And the fact, not even just on the offensive line, but the fact that he's pretty much down to Mike Evans and Gronk. But you're gonna need a huge game from Gronk.
And my worries, my biggest concern about the entire game right now is Gronk having to stay in and chip. And Gronk having to stay in, and so
a lot of two tight ends.
Backtrack real quick. Ryan Jensen expected to play. It's likely he's going to play. Yes, he played he got hurt and then came back in and finished the game out.
Okay.
He was at practice as of today. Started practice, was walked through. No visible limp or of any sort. So I think we're gonna be okay. Him against Aaron Donald has been very, very good for us. Him and Ollie Marpet double teaming Aaron Donald, or him and Alex Kappa double teaming Aaron Donald. Again, in our wins, we basically shut out Aaron Donald. What's crazy is the Bucs have played. They played him twice last year. They played him the year before that, and they played the year before that. So literally, this is gonna be like the fifth time in 4 years, or fifth time in 4 years that the Rams and Bucs have played, and they literally have flip-flopped ass whoopings every time. And so it's been, I mean, within reason. Again, the game was close. Last game, I think, was 34-24. And they played us earlier in the season. When the Bucs played the Rams, they literally lost all three of their starting cornerbacks that game. That's when the injury-riddled season began. Yeah. We had, I think it was AB. That was when AB got hurt initially messed up his ankle. We had Sean Murphy-Bunting go down. It was crazy. They were down to practice squad guys. But yeah, Jamal Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Carlton Davis all got hurt that game. So at halftime, as a Bucs fan, you're like, well, this means nothing. I mean, if we win, awesome. But if we lose, it means nothing. We were basically, at the pickings for Stafford and Cooper Kupp, and it was bad. sixth, seven string practice squad guys, safeties playing cornerback. That's like what we were down to that game. So it's kind of really, really hard to look back at that one or look back at any of the other ones, but to just say that we flip flopped each one. It is a crapshoot and a almost pipe dream that we are going to get Tristan Wirfs back on Sunday. So.
Right. So big Von Miller game.
Big Von Miller game, which means you're going to have playoff Lenny or you're going to have Gronk chipping. Because I don't know if you've seen it. Josh Wells.
Fournette coming back for sure?
What's that?
Fournette's in for sure?
Fournette's back.
Okay.
We got Fournette. So we've got at least some things that can help us solidify. And let's not mention, like, our offensive line got the shit kicked out of them and Tom Brady was under pressure all last game, too.
Yeah.
Because these guys were out and these guys were hurt and we're limping and we're half-staffed, and the Eagles' front four is legit. Like, super legit. Like, you have Aaron Donald, and then, like, there's Fletcher Cox is, like, right in there. I mean, you have all kinds of guys on that defensive line. So they were getting after Brady. I think Brady was having to keep it. They said it a couple times, like 2.1 was like his average time before getting the ball. His average time before release. So I'm sure the Bucs can scheme stuff up as long as they got at least one of two of those offensive line. The Bucs have a chance. If it was two offensive line, I might have to change my pick. Like it would be that. It would be almost don't ever count Brady out. I'd have to change that pick, but. As long as they can handle the blocking scheme, which doesn't seem likely, if they can handle and hold up blocking wise, I think they have a chance. Evans has done stuff against Ramsey on multiple occasions. They're a good matchup, but it's a 50-50. It's not like Jalen Ramsey just cancels out Mike Evans. Like that hasn't happened before. It will not happen unless if he follows them, maybe. But I don't see them. I don't think that they will have him follow the whole time. I don't think he's going to. The game before, they had him line up against Gronk. They had him line up against all kinds of people. Again, that's when we had all kinds of people.
Right.
I believe the Bucs are at basically full strength defensively. The Bucs will shut down that run game. Will limit their even rhyme or reason to run the ball. If the Eagles couldn't run the ball on us, the Rams are going to struggle. And they have some really, really good backs. But the offensive line is average, at best. Average. Whitworth is old. We have JPP back. They have Shaq Barrett back. Shaq Barrett's out there getting interceptions. Like, I think our defense versus their offense is equal to their defense against our offense right now.
Right.
I would say that and I think we have the advantage with the linebackers. We have the advantage with, I don't know, the defensive line. That one's kind of a toss-up. Vita Vea is less than Aaron Donald, but Shaq Barrett is better than Von Miller right now. JPP, I would say, is better than, Leonard Floyd? Again, toss-ups.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up. That one's, but linebacking core, safeties, night and day better. Again, they have Jalen Ramsey, and then that's it. So you need big plays from Scotty Miller. You need Tyler Johnson to keep stepping up, and he has. Every time they've asked Tyler Johnson to fulfill a starting caliber role, he completely has. Scotty Miller, I think, is going to be the sneaky player of this game to have like another one of those big plays. They're going to have to load the box up because the Bucs are going to run, especially if they're down. If we're down offensive line, we're playing small ball. We're trying to keep it close, trying to have our defense win this game, not give up too many plays, limit Cooper Kupp, limit OBJ, do what they can to just keep it close, keep it tight, and give Brady a chance at the end is going to be the idea. So that's what they're going to have to do. I got the Bucs winning it because it's Brady.
Right.
I think that's the only reason. Because if not, I really do. I think being down Tristan Wirfs and having a banged up offensive line and lack of weapons is going to be very, very hard to beat a super talented Rams defense. And I am shitting bricks this week.
It's going to be so much fun because, I mean, again, like we said earlier, the Rams are completely all in. They couldn't be more all in terms of just like, this is our year, let's go get it. And I think you're right in terms of this game is going to have to come down to the defense for the Bucs. Like, you're going to have to make it close at the end so that once it comes down to that 6-minute mark, make sure it's a 1-score game so that it could be Stafford versus Brady and how they handle the clutch period in the playoffs, because Stafford just got his first win this last week, and I don't know if he's necessarily over being that guy who you should be concerned about in those type of situations. Like, Stafford gonna staff. Is Stafford gonna Stafford, or is Stafford gonna step up and become everything that the Rams hope he's gonna become? And that's what the Bucs need to do to win. Or Sean McVay coaches his ass off and uses his plethora of weapons to figure out a way to make it happen. And he uses, or maybe he just finds a way to infiltrate the banged up offensive line, like you were saying. But either way, it's going to be a beautiful game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game in terms of the points total. Right now, it's at 48.5, and I think it's going to have to be a defensive struggle for the Bucs to win it. And at the end of the day, I think they will be. They will be in it. I think I'm leaning towards the Rams, though. Just because I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I'll take Rams plus 2.5 at this point.
Yeah, it's hard because.
Or I could totally see Brady just leading him down to kick the last scoring field goal. Sorry, I can't talk. But I'm still good with 2.5 points. So it's going to be a good one. I mean, that's just going to be a really exciting game to watch. It's going to be a great Sunday. So we'll
give me Bucks and the points. That's what I think. I think it might be tied up. So you're saying 2.5 is the over under? The Bucks got to win by 3. I think maybe it's tied up, and the Bucks will kick the field goal to win. So I'm gonna say.
I think it probably ends up. Rams go up, and then Stafford fumbles the bag somehow towards the end, and Brady just comes in and
it's his MO.
And then they just win all by 1 on a kickoff, on a field goal.
I mean, it's not like Stafford did anything crazy. Like, the Rams won that game last week. Stafford didn't do shit.
Right.
Like, Stafford just didn't.
You can't let him.
He just didn't mess it up. You know? I mean, they had, I think it was, what is it? Right here. I mean, well, yeah, no. See, like, even half that, let me go down to it, because half of those passing yards aren't even his. All right, 13 of 17, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Only a QBR rating of 154, 0.5. Obviously, is perfect, but like 13 of 17 for 200 is good. It's solid, but it's not like he threw 35 times. And
that was a running offense. Like they want to be a running offense.
You're not running the ball. You're not running the ball 30 times against the Bucs defense.
Right.
Nobody has all year long. It doesn't work. You're not going to. Like, there was a few games. Again, when Levante David was out, JPP and Shaq Barrett, like, okay, I get it. Because you can run the outsides. Like, I get that. Now, once they came back again, we reinserted ourselves as the number 1 rushing defense like the Bucs have been for years. A long, long time. And it's going to stay that way. So then it's going to be forced into. That's the thing. The Bucs are going to force it into Stafford's hands.
Yeah. You're going to have to.
Stafford's going to have to beat us. It's not going to be Cam Akers. It's not going to be Sony Michel. I do think they will get some good plays off. They might have a couple big chunk plays. But for the most part, the Bucs are going to bottle that shit up. They're going to be that defensive line is going to be up their ass all game long, just like it's going to be on the opposite side of the ball for Tom Brady. So who knows if Brady's the one that makes the Stafford-like mistakes, because we've seen it.
Right.
We've seen it this year. Like, Brady's made some bad throws, and Brady also has a bunch of wide receivers who are rookies, and not rookies, but basically rookies for this. In this situation, they are. Outside of Mike Evans and Gronk, which they're both going to have big games. They have to. Each got to get a touchdown. Without either of them, if one of them doesn't get a touchdown or playoff Lenny doesn't completely ball out, then they're not winning this game. So I will state that. They both, Gronk and Mike Evans need to be getting in the end zone. It's got to happen. They have to prove that they can beat it. And I mean, Gronk has the biggest. I think Gronk has the biggest mismatch. That linebacking core can't cover him. Those safeties can't cover him.
No, they're going to need a huge Gronk day. There's no doubt about that.
It takes a lot. It takes time for him to get open. Not even to get open, to get down the field. And are they going to have enough time? Like I think there's going to be a lot of him chipping and then coming out, and then like him just. I quote me now if you hear one thing. I guarantee there's going to be chip, block, delayed route. And that's going to be half of their game plan outside of Leonard Fournette and the run game is going to be the dink and dunk. And that's what they're going to try and do. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it sweet. Don't go too crazy. If they can get a play action, if they can prove to be able to keep Von Miller out of the backfield. Again, Von Miller ain't what he used to be.
For sure.
Like, let's not forget. And even without Tristan Wirfs, the Bucs still probably have a better offensive line than freaking the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely agree. And no, the defense is definitely going to give them problems on offense. So it's going to be a nice little chess match, but there's just a lot of things that have to go in the Bucs' favor, and there's also Brady's going to have to be classic playoff Brady. In terms of not really doing a whole lot, but doing exactly everything just the right amount at the right time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm happy with the Rams +5 or +2.5. But I wouldn't be shocked if it just plays out. Stafford loses it late, or Brady just seizes it, and Bucs are on to next week.
I also wouldn't be shocked if the Bucs come out and fucking smack them around like they did last year in the playoffs too. I mean,
you're depending on Lenny.
With or without, yeah. Again, it's a lot of this team. The Rams team got built this year. Like, let's be real. I mean, what got them there this year is Matt Stafford, OBJ, Von Miller. Ramsey's now been there for a little over a year, but like this team, all these ingredients got fucking thrown together, and they beat a division rival. But they've looked bad against bad teams and really good against good teams.
Yeah, it's which team shows up.
Yep.
Or which Stafford shows up.
Yeah, I know. I really was hoping it was gonna be another noon game. Get that East Coast advantage going. I think it's what Bucs at 2 hard time 3.
3 I think
3:30 Eastern. I think
it's
3:30 Eastern. I'm second guessing.
It's all 3:30, but I may have been reading Eastern.
I'll pull it up before we jump on into the prime time of the prime time.
Game of the week.
So
it's gonna be a good
I would
one.
think so. I think let me get this out. This could possibly be a dethroning, like repositioning type game. So with that being said, what mentality does either of these quarterbacks come out with? Because if Josh Allen comes out after a 5 touchdown performance last week and falls flat on his face, it looks so bad. If Patrick Mahomes, I'm saying if Josh Allen comes out and falls flat on his face after just having a 5 touchdown performance, like he'll never recover. Like he will always be like Patrick Mahomes' little brother.
But that's kind of what Josh Allen does, is he has those crazy highs and then he falls back to earth. And then he has another big one in a few weeks when he goes off for a few rushing touchdowns, or he goes off with very few incompletions and a lot of touchdowns. And That's the Josh Allen experience, and that's what you sign up for, and it's a lot of fun most of the time. But I can't think of the last time, like, if I'm looking at this from Patrick Mahomes' angle, he has been getting so much shit, and the Chiefs have been getting so much shit, and now all of a sudden Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. And you just turn on SportsCenter, you turn on ESPN or NFL Network, and they're talking about, would you rather have Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes? And if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm just sitting here like, he hasn't done half the shit that I've done. I didn't have a bad year. We've gone through the fucking ringer this year. Like, to get to where they are now on the back of kind of the resurgence of the team, I think we're about to see the best of Patrick Mahomes. I think we're about to see him pull some shit. Like, this is playoff Pat. Like, this is what he does. Like, even in the Super Bowl last year when we got our dick smashed, it wasn't because of Patrick Mahomes. This dude was completing 30-yard passes parallel from the ground with a broken toe. Like, the dude comes with it when it's time to come with it. And they're at home, and they're looking for revenge. Buffalo's been loud all year. They've been chirpy. They've been talking that shit. They're feeling good about themselves coming off this win last week against their division foe. And they have every right to be excited. I mean, Buffalo's fan base is a lot like Kansas City's fan base in a way. Like, before they won the championship, they won the Super Bowl and got that off their back. Like, there's a large period of just irrelevancy. So I can see why the Buffalo fan base is as rowdy as it is and excited about it is. But let's cool our jets. Like, Josh Allen does have a hell of a ceiling. He makes plays that even Pat can't make. But there is a Josh Allen experience. And I think it would be, I would say it's risky to bet that Josh Allen is going to have a high game more than it's to bet Patrick Mahomes is going to have a high game. Like,
agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed. Would you say, though, do you give the nod to the Bills' defense, though? Especially with the potential of
defense?
Willie Gay. Yeah, defense versus defense. I'm not necessarily saying defense versus quarterback, but just defense versus defense. I mean, Bills have been...
No, Bills are nice. Bills are good.
I think they're like that.
But I don't know who they're going to put on Tyreek Hill. I don't know who they're going to put on.
They're definitely... You know, from the Bucs experience, don't play man coverage against them. Like,
right, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. So as long as they don't do that, you know, I don't want to interrupt, but I will say this: the safeties are going to be the biggest thing. I think if Buffalo's safeties show up, like I think they will, they're the best safety tandem in the NFL. If they show up, this game is going to be a lot closer. I think it's more so riding on them than it is anybody else.
I don't think it's going to be a lot of deep plays. I think there will be some deep plays, but I think it's just going to be a lot of just meticulous getting the ball down the field in little spurts. I mean, there could be 15 to 20-yard plays, but I'm not thinking they're going to take the top off because I think that's what the Bills are going to focus on. They're going to focus on their front four to get to Pat, and they're going to play the single the cover two to make sure they don't get beat, and they're going to let Tyreek get the short passes and run. Or now something that hasn't been talked about is Nicole Hardman's emergence over the past month. He is getting involved. He's confident when he's getting involved, and they're not making him necessarily run. They used to try to use him like Tyreek in terms of run the same type of route concepts and get downfield and use your speed. But he's getting the ball more from a gadget standpoint, which has always fit his skill set. But to see him actually be utilized that way and him be comfortable doing it, like they're using him out of the backfield as a wildcat formation guy. They're using him on jet sweeps.
He's doing a lot more east and west movement and playing than he is doing north and south and not just taking the top off or just the screenplay or just the deep route. He's actually getting the intermediate stuff. He's getting the crossing routes. Like you said, the jet sweeps. They're definitely.
And he's doing well in punt returns. Like, he's just feeling himself right now. And that's dangerous. Like, that's something that hasn't really been given the flowers I think he deserves, because he's been doing this since. I mean, he made a play in the Chargers game, but even since then he started to emerge a little bit in the Bengals. Had his first 100-yard receiving game against the Broncos, and then last week he had some big plays. So I would look out for him. And another big aspect that my boy, Jerick McKinnon, he needs to just get the ball. He is everything that Damian Williams was in that 2019 run. And that is all they need. That's all they've been missing. And that's all they need out of the running back position. Someone who could pass block. And Jerick McKinnon, with his 32 reps at the combine when he came out of 225, the dude can push. The dude can protect. And he can also catch and he can also run. So I think they're going to utilize him as a weapon more for the overall playoff standpoint. And you're at Arrowhead at home in the playoffs, homie. This is January Arrowhead, and the defenses get feisty at Arrowhead, and I'm confident. I'm feeling confident. It's going to be an absolute. I think it's going to be a barn burner. The over-unders, the point total is 53.5 right now. I'm taking the over. I think it's just going to be prime time, just slinging, just letting it go. And I really hope Willie Gay plays. I don't know if Andy Reid has any, allegiances towards vacuums, but that was really the only thing hurt in this situation. For those that don't know, Willie Gay was arrested Thursday morning for breaking a vacuum and a phone at his baby mama's house. So his bond was $1,000. So he was in and out today, but that's just something to throw into the storylines of this is what it's like being a Chiefs fan. Just little shit like this happens constantly. But hopefully he plays because he's going to be an essential piece of the defense, specifically as a spy to keep Josh Allen at bay as well as we can. Because Josh Allen's going to Josh Allen, but Willie Gay.
That and Dawson Knox. Like Dawson Knox balled last week, and I think he even dropped. And he dropped like a touchdown or two as well, or he dropped a couple big plays. It's so hard. It's so hard to go up against Patty, but I at least have to acknowledge the opportunity and the possibility for the Buffalo Bills to do so. My opinion, you're looking at a Kansas City defense that I don't know was necessarily improved from last year. They're not as good as Buffalo's. Oh no, let me rephrase that. They're definitely improved from last year. The front four, yeah, this is the best they've been for a while. But they've also shown to get beat. You guys got beat pretty handedly by. The defense isn't impenetrable. Put it that way.
No, not at all.
And if you're already admitting to the potential of a massive shootout, and you are you're kind of caving to the fact that that defense is going to not both defense I think will eventually break to both quarterbacks. Like I think once it's off, you talk about Tyreek Hill, you talk about Stephon Diggs. I think Diggs has so much to prove and is always trying to be like, yeah. I'm the best goddamn wide receiver on this planet right now, bar none. Give me a quarterback that can prove that. He's got that quarterback. They have this those two have this dog mentality of we have to prove that we are they want to be Patrick and Tyreek Hill. That is what they are trying to do right now. And could it happen against that secondary? Yeah, I really do. I think Dawson Knox is going to be another huge vital factor. So if you don't have Willie Gay this weekend, I may change my opinion. I've said that. I told you that when you were talking about him coming back last year of how vital he is and being from a coverage standpoint, being your only linebacker with speed that can actually do anything, because everyone else in that linebacking core is a vulnerability against the pass. Yeah, it really is. It's just it's not good. It's like the Packers. It's just not good. They can't do shit. And so I think
they'll get creative. They'll bring in Matthew to help out if need be. They switch it up a lot. They do their thing. I will say this, and I noted that if Stephon Diggs does go for 125 and 2 touchdowns, Buffalo wins. It's going to be about making they're just going to have to do their best in containing how they can, but there's just something about being on the road and the playoffs that I don't know if Josh Allen has fully shown that you can confidently say good Josh Allen is going to show up, and not enough bad Josh Allen to make good Patrick Mahomes victorious. because I think good Patrick Mahomes is going to show up.
I keep
Maybe
saying, I don't know.
really great Patrick Mahomes is going to show up, honestly.
I 100% believe that. I think that defense is enough. When you take defense plus Josh Allen against that defense and everything that they have with all the weapons and the run game and Josh Allen's ability to run the ball, I think Josh Allen's going to run for more yards than Patrick Mahomes is this game. I think he's going to have some rushing touchdowns. He's going to be his team's leading rusher. He is going to do every freaking thing imaginable, but then obviously so will Patrick Mahomes. And I think Patrick Mahomes is going to edge him. I do. I will not go against Patrick Mahomes until I'm proven. Otherwise, even if it is against my boy, after I just got done yelling at you a week ago for finally kind of showing some respect and put some respect on that name of Josh Allen.
We'll see what happens this week. I'm telling you. There's still a lot of bad Josh Allen in there.
You got 1 week. You got 1 week left for your take at the beginning of the year of Josh Allen was going to fall. Like after this week,
this is what my take rides on.
Yeah, no more. I don't want to hear anything else about this Josh Allen shit. All right.
My take was they would digress this year, and last year they made the AFC Championship. So if they lose this game, I nailed my take. And I'll let that sit.
You said Josh Allen specifically was going to digress as a quarterback. I don't know if that's necessarily happened. Again,
2 interceptions. He throws 2 interceptions.
God, I can't wait. But then, but does Patrick Mahomes turning the ball over? That once, 1 turnover to 2 turnovers.
4 touchdowns, 1 time. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception.
4-1. Man, I can't wait to go back to this and double check this next week. Speaking of. We do have to go across our little list for our real quick. We'll just go through this real quick. If you guys paid attention last week, we did a little draft, a fun little draft for all of the teams that were in the playoffs, who we were riding with, as well as the people we were picking for the awards. So we're not going to go back through the awards or all that stuff. But as it sits right now, each of us have 3 points. Going into this next week, games are now worth 2 points. I have Tampa Bay, Tennessee, San Francisco, Cincinnati. I could be all out. Like this weekend, I'm literally going to lose. I'm definitely losing 1 of 2. I'm losing either Tennessee or Cincinnati. Like, that's going to happen.
That's fun. Well, I'm losing the Chiefs or I'm losing the Bills.
Yeah, same thing.
But mine are pretty high. Like those are my big picks.
Yeah, same here, bud. I didn't lose any top picks. I mean, Arizona for me, it was Arizona, Vegas, Pitt. You lost Dallas, New England, Philly. So,
yeah.
I mean, at least not all of my teams got blown out. All of your teams got blown out. No, I guess Dallas didn't.
That's how it goes.
What do you think before we leave? Because we really didn't get to shit on the Cowboys. Because we really didn't get to recap as much as we wanted to. What was your opinion of how that game ended? Because Jimmy G came real close to fucking that all up. Everybody got a little nervous there towards the end. Defense stepped up. Niners run game. Debo, almost seals it, and then Cowboys start charging back. In theory, what they were doing wasn't wrong. But they caught the defense off guard so bad, they caught the fucking officials off guard, and the officials couldn't get to the ball fast enough. If you didn't see it, draw a play, no timeouts left. They're trying to get one play in, spike the ball, and then be close enough to have a comfortable throw and not necessarily a Hail Mary to the end zone. But how stupid do you have to be? If this is in your repertoire, if this is in your playbook, would you not let the refs know before the game, even right before, like, hey, we might do this, make sure your fucking staff is ready for this shit. Just like they do when, like, hey, number 93 holds a lot, like, look out for this.
I wouldn't say I fault them for that necessarily. I mean, you're in a rough position having Dak run down the field and expecting the 60-year-old referee who's behind Dak to beat Dak to where Dak got down to the ball so he could properly position it. Like, all in all, that doesn't nearly bother me as much as how they went for it and they did a fake punt and they got it, and then they brought the punt team like no huddle punt team, and like they're just playing they galaxy brain that, like they're being the Cowboys. This is what the Cowboys do. They're the exemplar shining beacon of ineptitude and just incompetence.
America's clowns.
But here we are.
Another
year, another early exit, and another fan base complaining about the people they have in charge and just how they came out after the game, like to play the
hard, so bitter,
like just like private, like losers. It's a loser mentality with a losing franchise, and that's why they stay losers, because that's the leadership that they carry themselves with. Is that it was the refs, and they're just like blindly, like openly, just were whiny and complaining, and it's just the pompous team that it's become, and the fan base is used to it, honestly. And it's a shame that it's a shame, I suppose, but I'm not mad at it. I'm glad they're not in it. What's that?
14. The number of penalties. 14.
Yeah.
You're gonna blame the refs? You're gonna blame the refs for that one little thing. 14. I mean, again, you should know when all right. So again, this is 100% Dak Prescott's fault. Dak Prescott,
to make them be in a
know
position where they had to do that at the end of the game, and it kind of came down to that. Like it shouldn't have come down to that.
Well, again, if you've seen this happen in any big game specifically, I always think of like Larry Fitzgerald catching the ball and then like running to a ref to hand him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what play it might have been, the Arizona Pittsburgh game, like Super
Sounds
Bowl.
About right. It sounds about right.
But I mean, it happens all the time. You see it all the time. But they're taught, like wide receivers are taught, catch the ball, fucking get to that yard marker, and then run to a referee and hand him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it clear as day where you're supposed to be, and then get him. Because the ref had no idea where that ball was supposed to be spotted because they weren't ready for it.
Sprinting 40 yards to get there. And it's just going to take his old ass a little longer to get down there.
That being said, though, the actual concept of the play, though, I kind of understand. The idea of you have to get, so say you have to get, let me see if I can we'll put this right here. You got to get right here, right? How long does it take for your wide receivers to get down there and throw the ball to catch it versus just running straight down there?
Sure. And if it's open and it's there, yeah, go for it.
So I feel like, I mean, obviously you could have a seam route be just as fast as a draw play, right? Like, I think you could probably say that. But realistically, their wide receivers are going to have to run and get open or get out of bounds. So that means they're having to break on routes. So, like, the fastest thing to do if you felt like you had enough time to spike the ball was that play right there. I think it is a brilliant design. I think that was 100% Kellen Moore's, design. I will never give Mike McCarthy, creative genius over anything I see that the Cowboys do well.
No, so, he's not part of that.
But I will say, I think that was still his play call, though. I think he was somebody who was dumb enough to scheme that in with that little amount of time left.
Yeah, it was his call to do that.
That wasn't Dak's call. Somebody radioed that in, right? Who was it? Was it Kellen Moore? Or was it fucking Mike McCarthy? I think it was Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy is a terrible coach. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
I think most of Cowboys fans will agree with you on that.
Trash.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting what happens with Kellen Moore. He's not as hot as he was a week ago. So, but there's 8 head coaching spots available.
Yeah, again,
Fourth in the league.
That's the Niners. That's the Niners defense for you. It's gonna make a team look bad, and it'll do its Green Bay again this weekend. And
got ourselves the game. Got ourselves a week.
That
So wait,
was
what was your prediction on the Chiefs Buff Bills lines? Minus Kansas City by 2.
Oh, I think, what did I say? I never gave an actual score for that one, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so.
What's the over-under on that?
53.5.
53.5, and then what are they? They're how many point favorite?
2.
1.5, 2. I'm going KC, and they will cover. I think KC will cover.
I agree.
I will be slightly rooting for Josh Allen.
Of course.
And be rooting.
I'll be rooting. It sounds like.
I'll be rooting to be wrong, but I really do think it's going to be. It's gonna be KC. Patrick Mahomes will do some Patrick Mahomes like stuff.
I think Patrick Mahomes takes. Yeah, I think this is all the elements are there for him to be just completely pissed off and playing pissed off. And that's my favorite Patrick Mahomes. So I'm giddy. I'm giddy about this game. It's on prime time. It's against the guy everyone's saying is better than him. I don't think he's ever dealt with it.
Who's saying that?
Like Wiley was all over that take. Orlovsky is all over that take right now. The talking heads are chattering about Josh Allen. He came off a fantastic game. I completely get it. But
so did Patrick Mahomes.
This is the type of shit that these type of competitors use as and I took that personally. That's what gets them to that next level. And again, it's the playoffs. It's at home. It's in prime time. He's got motivation to prove. He's got something to prove. I think we're about to see some shit. It's gonna be awesome. And I think you're going to see some trick plays too, some crazy, Andy's going to get cute. Prime time is his shit. Playoffs is his shit. And we might see another Travis Kelce touchdown where he might actually throw it to Patrick Mahomes this time.
No, I think I was going to say this, though. Jarrett McKinnon and Travis Kelce, I think, will be the focal points of the offense. And I think Kelce's going to have a massive game. Even though the Bills are, top 5 against tight ends. When you talk about Matt Milano, when you talk about, I always forget which Edmund brother it is. Tremaine. Yeah, Tremaine and what's the other one?
Terrell.
Yeah, Terrell and Tremaine. Those boys can fly. They can cover. They're good.
I'm going Reed. I think it's a Reed game.
I think Reed gets one big play.
Okay.
One big play. That's what I'm gonna say. Those cornerbacks have they have no business covering them man to man.
No.
But that's why I think
they're gonna back up. Make sure
I think the speed spurt.
Be okay, whoop, and he's just gonna. It's gonna.
But the safeties though, the safeties are the reasons why this hasn't happened. They're the reason why they're the best defense or have been the best defense this year. The best defense against the pass. It's because of Jordan Poyer and my guy.
First game they played this year, Daniel Sorensen played 100% of the snaps at strong safety. And if he plays anywhere near that, if he can't be on the field, they need him on the field.
So all right. If the Bills, before we wrap this up, because I know you're very confident, but you do admit that there is a possibility of this happening. If the Bills do win, how would they win? In your point of view, I know you've said Stephon Diggs, 125 and 2 tutties.
Singletary out of nowhere has a big game. Diggs has a big game, and I don't think they win because Josh Allen carries the. I just think it's a well executed game that Brian Dable comes out and McDermott, and they just outcoach him. And the Chiefs, Spags does his weird Spag shit sometimes where he just doesn't adjust and is just like, if the Bills come out and do something that works, Spags is liable to not adjust, and they can just get peppered by that all game. And that's how they lose by coaching.
Yeah,
and then players just step up, like Devin Singletary, like Diggs. I'm not too worried about Knox. I mean, he might get a touchdown, but like he just doesn't pop up in my concerns necessarily.
If the Bills are to win this weekend, I think they do it by being not pass heavy, but they're going to have to substitute. Like they're going to have to rely on Josh Allen. They have to rely on Josh Allen to make big plays. They're going to have to be aggressive, go for it on fourth down, which McDermott has done anyways. But because it's KC, because it's the playoffs, this is the biggest game of McDermott's career, biggest game of Josh Allen's career. This is the game to get it done now. So,
because they're going back.
Yeah. If they do it, it's going to be through the air. I think it's going to be a big day on Josh Allen, both through the air or through his arm and his legs and his feet. And that defense is going to do enough to put enough pressure on Patrick Mahomes to make one or two mistakes, to make enough mistakes. I think the defense.
If the mistakes are going to be made, it's on the defensive side. Like the same way, like I'm envisioning how it would look, and it's like Emmanuel Sanders goes down the sideline on a wheel route that Daniel Sorensen read wrong, and now he's just wide open, and it's a 70-yard touchdown. That was just misexecution, and it was just putting a guy in a bad spot, and that's how I see like the big plays happening, not necessarily just I'm excited. I think there's going to be fireworks throughout. Hopefully the Chiefs have enough to last the whole game. I don't know if you saw last week, they ran out of fireworks because they scored too much on the Steelers. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks.
Well, that's a mess up. That's a mess up by the franchise.
Right.
To act like the Chiefs aren't capable of putting up more than 42 points is kind of ridiculous. Like, you guys should have enough fireworks. You should have enough fireworks for at least a 50 burger.
You'd think so. So hopefully they come stock this week. But I'm pumped. We have a hell of this weekend ahead of us, and no injuries.
Yeah.
That's what I'm up for.
Good luck. Injury riddled right now. That has been the Bucks story all season long. But that's the thing. We went into the Super Bowl at full strength, and you guys were offensive lineless or tackleless.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, those were like the only two. Huh?
And 5 guards.
Yeah. It was.
And we didn't use it. We didn't use the tight end block. It was like.
Yeah. It was just that you left them out to dry. I'm not saying we'll leave them out. I'm not saying my coach would ever do that. They would never do that to Tom Brady, because he'd just get eaten alive. But. No, like the Bucks kind of. It's not that like you deserve something, but you can only stay so healthy for so long. The Bucks had it so good last year that if this weekend doesn't go my way, as much as it's gonna hurt, it won't hurt as bad as it would have last year.
Right.
You know, because like we got ours. You know, like I can feel good about that. Brady got us a ring. I won't be as crushed as I have been years prior not making the playoffs. I'm like, again, it's like almost building. It's kind of like what you're doing, Daniel Sorensen, building in like a pre-existing excuse, pre-building that excuse for like a little cushion.
Spags would be that. Spags would be that.
Yeah, Spags and Sorensen make you feel a little bit better and be like, well, I knew if we're going to lose, I knew how we were going to lose. That's kind of like what it is. It's like, I knew this whole year, it's like, if we lose, it's all dedicated, or it's all predicated on this on the injuries.
Yeah.
We've been at half-mast this entire time. Our defense has been destroyed all season long. The only thing that's been held up all season long has been our offensive line. Then we get to the playoffs and the offensive line goes to shit. So
yeah, that's football. Let's
It
see
is.
what's up with.
It is
I will say
football.
this. This is my last thing I want to say. If the Chiefs do lose this week, I think you will see Spags be gone, Matthew not get re-signed, Travarius Ward not get re-signed, and they kind of go through an overhaul on the defensive side. New system, new leaders, help their cap space because Tyrann Mathieu is going to be a problem of a contract.
So then,
So
Reed's
have
good
to
though,
live
right? Like
the
Reed
whole-
keeps his job. He's not gonna step down like you were asking for
Exactly.
earlier this season. Like Reed's not stepping down, right?
I think he stays. I think he's got another year in him. But I still think my theory would have gotten us to at least this part. We'll just never know.
Yeah. We'll never know. All right, man. I will see you this weekend, and we will either be drinking our sorrows away come late Sunday night, or we'll be cheersing in celebration.
Best of luck, sir.
Yep.
Let's have a good one.
You too. Thank you for tuning in to the Blitz Breakdown, presented by Blitzlytics.com, where scouting meets analytics, and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. Big shout out to our sponsors, Key City Brewing, Drink, Rubber, Repeat. If you are ever in the Vicksburg, Mississippi area, go check out Key City Brewing. I'm Jack Bourgeois. It is Ashton Moore. Follow us at Jack Bourgeois, at Ashhole1056. Go Bucks. Go Chiefs. We out.
Later.